Hello, everybody. It's great to be here one more time today. And my name is Gary Fowler, and I am the CEO and founder of GSD Get Shit Done Venture Studios, a premier AI and quantum venture studio located in the heart, yes, the heart of Silicon Valley. I'm a serial entrepreneur with 17 startups under my belt. Been involved in several unicorns. I was on the original management team of Click Software, which was sold to Salesforce for $1.35 billion, and also Eva.ai, an HR tech company. We love artificial intelligence, quantum computing, the metaverse, Web3, because we know that the world has a lot of infobesity and we need tools to be able to help us make it better. So today I've had an incredible guest. I'd like to introduce Niv Herev-On. Niv is a serial entrepreneur. He's an investor. He's an all-around good guy. He's got an incredible background, and he's from Israel. And he's going to tell us a little bit about what he's done in his incredible company, EneriqsAI. So with that, hey, Niv, how are you doing today?
Hi, Gary. I'm very excited and honored to be in your show. Looking forward for that.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about it. So, you're now, how is it? So tell me a little bit about the IDF, and you're a major, right? So, I mean, is everybody in Israel in the armed forces?
Yeah, first of all, it's mandatory to be in the army. When the age of 18, you go for 3 years, and some of us continue for officer course. And this is part of my journey in the army. And I think it has a lot of impact about who I am today and the tools I got from this journey in the army. I had a combat training, but I was as an officer. I was in the home front command, and I think that has a lot of effect about how we look at things and operate in different situations.
Wow, so if you're going down through it, I mean, how is it like? You've got a lot of people as a major. How many people are under your command?
So it depends. It's a different. First of all, I'm a captain in reserve. I finished as a second lieutenant. That was
Oh,
after.
okay. I thought you had a major rank.
Yeah, I had a major rank at the moment. Received it during military reserve
Ah,
throughout the years. So I'm
I
still
got
in active. So I'm still in active service as a reserve, but I finished after 4 years in the army and my initial training period.
So how is it like? What kind of skills do you learn being in the army? What skills do you have now that you didn't have before?
I think the army gives you on the age of 18, 19, put a lot of responsibility and the authority, to manage also life and death situation, and gives you the value codes of how to behave in a very stressful situations when you need to make very fast decisions in uncertainty situation, and gives you all the tools and the values how to aim for target, and no matter what to get this target and all the means to an end.
Wow, that's incredible. And so, you've gone down through that. And how did you where so you're native Hebrew, but where did you learn your English?
I think one of my biggest love is to travel around the world. I think I traveled most of the world throughout all the years. In Israel, it's very common, after the army to make a year round trip around the world. But I think it wasn't enough for me, and I kept doing that every year for about a month. I started alone, and then afterwards my wife joined me, and every year we went for at least a month or something like that to the far as we could. We were in North America, in Asia, in Europe, every time a different place, and this is part of how I got my English and skills.
So what place you've seen a lot of places. Now, what place is like the place that you say that was just incredible? I never expected it to be like that.
You know what? I think the Philippines. The Philippines. We were also inside the country, also the islands. I think it's an amazing country to travel and to meet. The people are very nice. Also, most of them knows English. They have all the different kind of sceneries from trekking and to the, for lying back on the sand with the amazing beaches.
Well, that's incredible. So Philippines, and as you were going down through the journey, what what really excites you? Like, what do you do for fun? You've been in the military. You do the travel, but what do you do to relax? What's the thing you do and you say, well, this is going to really help me relax?
It's also connected to that because I'm always keep traveling also in Israel and abroad, and I'm actually, it's not like working on that, but we're always planning the next trip, the next vacation, the next adventure, and I really see that as adventure.
You like adventures, Niv?
Yeah, I like adventures. I like the extreme. I did the bungee from one of the biggest bridges in South Africa, and swam with sharks. What?
How was that? Jumping
That
off?
was amazing. That was amazing. Flew in airplanes, swim with sharks, and also in South Africa, trying to to be alive.
Now with the big sharks?
Yeah, right. With a great white shark. Of course, I was in a cage, but he was.
Oh my God. Now, were you a little spooked when you were in there, thinking,
I was very spooked, but then the adrenaline and everything, around it is just worth it. So, and I think my biggest passion is people. I really like people. I really like, discovering new cultures and to understand what motivates people to move, to act. And I think that helped me a lot during the years with my career. And, because I learned a lot from different people around the world, and the more connections that you have, and I still keep in touch with a lot of people around the world, and it's interesting. And you learn so much how to think outside of the box in so many parameters, and you wouldn't believe what happens in the world if you were staying only in your little box. You discover there's so many different angles for every
situation. I agree. The world's a beautiful place, but sometimes people don't explore it. And unless, I don't know about you, but inside of it, when you look at people, they're pretty much the same everywhere. The politics are a lot different and it creates problems. But, I lived in Russia for over 10 years myself, and I spent a lot of time with, I would go to the Ukraine, Belarus, all through Central Asia, and pretty much, and people were actually very kind to me and very nice all over. And especially if you're kind and nice to start out with them, and you want to really know their culture, they're pretty nice to you across the boards. It's incredible, actually.
Definitely.
So you went through that. You did managing Salesforce up to 150 employees. You did startup management, closing contracts, management of logistics. How in the world did you do logistics, sales, training? All this, how did you do that all in one? Would you every half an hour you were changing your job, or what happened?
One of the things about I think the Israeli culture is we're working around the clock, 24/7. This is part of the things that you're getting also from army service. I think that this activity was, sales in shopping centers, and where I was also dealing with importing products from China, and you're managing this operation day and night, and you're working. Of course, you have to have a great team, which until today, I believe if you have the right team to support the activity, you can do almost anything. But I literally woke up every day in a different city, and I was driving miles over miles around the country. So that was quite challenging, and I was a young guy that was even before university, so I had a lot of motivation to succeed.
Wow, that's great. And so then you go over to Electra M&E, and you become an energy saving project manager. So you go from that, the Salesforce stuff, to monitoring, analyzing, designing energy saving project. Did you like that? Was it interesting?
Yeah, I was always attracted to the energy, to the environment actually, and how to affect the environment. And actually, I started back then in Electra, and I was really aiming to this position. Electra is, I think, the biggest electromechanical company in Israel. And I had the privilege of opening a new activity in Electra. It was something very unique, which we were two people at the beginning, and we started with energy efficiency project, initiating and trying to find, it wasn't as common as today. And I just fell in love with that. And I think my whole life from then until today is revolving around helping the planet, and energy savings is one way of doing that. Of course, recycling, my car is electrical. I really think that it starts with one person, but you can have a huge impact over the world if you are aiming to that and you have this goal.
Yeah, no, you're right. One person can make a difference. What car do you drive?
It's an electrical Toyota RAV4.
Oh, that's great. Fantastic. So, you look at it, you did that, you project management, you worked with clients, et cetera. You had that full environment. Then you went to ESCO, Israel. And I mean, how did you go? Again, you're in energy, right? You're doing HVAC, you're doing lighting, compressors. What were you learning? What kind of skill sets were you learning as you were going through this, Niv? What was it? What was it like? How did you get better at each one of the companies?
All right. I think I started the first years, I was trying to get as a professional in the engineering part, right? I had to learn all the HVAC systems and all the complexity of the systems and how everything operates, and to be able eventually to see the whole lookout of the energy process of site, or start from the HVAC energy center all the way to the end units, and how everything works. So I guess the first years I was mostly focusing on that. I think the more I got advanced, I was moving towards the business part and to understand how people are looking at these projects and what will make them move towards doing this project. And I'm saying also today, what eventually will make them pay for this kind of activity, because anyone needs incentive in order to do this kind of projects. And unfortunately, just saving energy for the planet is not enough. But I think
but it's so important. I mean, Niv, we got 8.1 billion people going to 13 by the end of the century. I mean, people don't get it, right? There's only so much oil, right? These are dead animals and plants, and there's only so much oil. What happens next?
Definitely, and I think the energy crisis. First of all, there is an energy crisis throughout all over the world at the moment. It didn't. I think the war between Russia and Ukraine increases the crisis, but it didn't start with that war. I think also America is facing, I think, the worst energy crisis for the past 5 decades or something like that. And there is a lot of regulation and trying of the government and trying to put limits to people, to the population, to reserve the little amount.
But the problem is, Niv, part of the challenges in the U.S., and I grew up in Pennsylvania, we've got oil and gas reserves literally behind the house, right? That I grew up in Pennsylvania. The problem is they stopped, pumping it out.
Exactly.
Like enough oil and gas to power the entire planet for like 18 years, right? There's a lot there, but they cut it off for all kinds of different reasons. And if we didn't have that cut off, this would be a different kind of scenario right now today, right?
Definitely. I think there was too much reliable on energy from wind and recyclable energy, and I think that was kind of it's definitely a mistake, that they did, and they didn't estimate the rate of the energy use in the US and in the world in general.
So you went to Echo Plant. So what happened in Echo Plant? What was that all about?
Echo Plant is also, it was my second high-tech company. I was always aiming for the high-tech, and I was always like this kind of field. And I believe that through AI, machine learning, you can reach much more than the typical and basic tools that this kind of activity has. And that was also in a startup company in the field of compressed air. And over there, I actually learned all the infrastructures and on the languages of actually the high-tech companies, and it's a different company, it's a different activity, and I learned what it means AI and machine learning and how you can use that in order to scale up operations and systems.
So let's go down to where we are today. Tell us about your vision for EneriqsAI. You know where you are. I know you're an IoT-based platform with a solution for energy savings on commercial buildings. And by the way, I did a presentation, a podcast with the head of IoT globally for Intel. And we had these, because we're talking about, I mean, commercial buildings, like there's no control. Like who, and it's on all the time or off. It's crazy, right?
Exactly.
So how do we take IoT and use an IoT-based platform to be able to help buildings to be able to cool, to be able to keep your expenses online? What can we do differently that we're not doing today? And what specifically do you have at EneriqsAI, and how are you implementing it to go to the global market?
Right, a lot of questions, but I'll try to answer all of them. First of all, the HVAC systems and the cooling and the building management systems are quite old-fashioned, and as you said, no one is really managing them. They are unupdated to the current stage, and usually they are just working and according to a very basic operation methods. And I think this is part of what the advantage that I have, because I'm coming from the engineering part and I really understand the whole engineering process and the HVAC systems, and I can connect them to the software and operation and analysis and forecast.
So you know how it really works. You know how those systems work from an engineering standpoint, and most people don't, right? Because they don't come at it as an HVAC expert first. They come at it as an IoT person trying to connect to the HVAC system, right?
Definitely. First of all, the things that you can do with machine learning and AI and algorithm control, it's humanly impossible to do it by hand. So even if you have someone on site for any commercial or industrial building who wants to have energy efficiency, and I know that because this is what I was trying to do for the past 15 years with the basic options. But if you have a tool, an algorithm that has the ability to take multiple parameters and from all around, from the environment and from the forecasted weather and from the building itself and from actually everywhere, and from the equipment itself, you can have so much insights and so much suggestions and understanding what you could do with this information especially with our solution, that we are proactively control the system and not just giving the insight. So it's
well, I mean, that's it. You got to be able to control it, not just who cares about the insights, because then we may or may not do anything about it.
Definitely.
What kind of insights? So, what kind of things do you control? Let's talk about it like at a granular. How can you make it more efficient in a commercial building? What do you take care of that people just they haven't really thought about?
So first of all, as I said, we are connected straight to we are a chiller expert. So the chiller is, I don't know if the audience are familiar with that, but the chiller is usually a big box, some kind of small container that sits on the rooftops of a commercial or industrial building, and it's equals to a couple of hundred.
Like the condenser, yeah.
It's constructed from condenser and evaporator, but this is all together. But
I got it. So it's called the chiller. Okay.
It's called a chiller. I have both of them, but so it's equals for something like hundreds, 200, 300, depends on the capacity of residential ordinary air conditioning. And the big difference is instead of cooling the air with gas, it's cooling water, and the water is circulating throughout the building all the way to the end user. Sorry. So we are actually connecting to these chillers, and you can imagine how much energy they consume by the size of them. And they are actually in charge of the bulk of energy consumption, especially in hot countries, for cooling the buildings. And we're also deploying sensors throughout the buildings, just enough to have a representative sample. And with this information, of course, sensor for humidity and temperature. And with this information that getting all straight to the cloud, to our algorithm, with the also the forecast weather and all the other parameters that we're integrating, we have the ability to forecast the future energy usage of that building. And having that, we are also able to control the chiller about when it's coming in, out, and the temperature of the water circulating in the building. And in this way, we have the ability to minimize the energy cost of this chiller and optimize the operation of this equipment. It's a very expensive equipment. It has a lot of malfunction. It's very expensive. And since we are operating this equipment in the most optimal way, we are improving the maintenance status of this equipment, and we are extending the lifespan of this equipment, and we are improving also the air comfort of the building, since we are adjusting the operation of the chillers and the air, the temperature of the air.
But it's doing it real time. It's doing it all the time, right, Niv?
Yeah. It's the 24/7. The system, it started with a learning process of about 2 to 3 weeks, that the system learns the behavior of the building. It's building a thermodynamical map of the building, and at any given time, it has a prediction of what's going to be needed in a few hours, the energy usage of the building. So it's actually got also calculating the heat transfer of the building and connects it to the energy production of these chillers. So it's really,
so what about, so couldn't that could be tied into like a Tesla wall that could really reallocate off-peak electricity to reduce costs, right?
Exactly. It's not that common in the rest of the world, but the peak demand charge is definitely could be.
I know in the US we got peak power. It's really expensive, right?
I know that in California, for example, they have even half of the electricity bills could be only on the peak demand charge,
right,
because they're getting some kind of a penalty for getting energy costs above the limit that they're allowed to. So yes, we could do that, and it's kind of an energy storage inside the system, and the system only knows when to cool the building more and to store the energy before the peaks. So it's kind of
Niv, how much money is wasted in a typical commercial building that they waste? Like how much? Like what percent?
I guess about 30%.
Think about how much money that is. It's crazy money, right?
It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. Think about it, that if 50% of the annual energy cost for a typical commercial building, let's say a business building or a hotel, could be between 40 to 60% of the consumption. So if we can save, and we are saving between 20 to 30% of this amount, it's a lot of money for us.
That is unbelievable. So why wouldn't somebody want to do it then? Never. Like, seems to me like everybody on the planet Earth that's got commercial facilities should be talking to you.
First of all, you're right. And I think our biggest challenge today, unfortunately, is skepticism. It's a very old-fashioned industry, and most of the people that are dealing with this kind of technology are very, I'm not saying stuck, but they're very not open for new ideas and new innovation. And for me, the skepticism is the hardest part. Being a mechanical engineer, I know I was also skeptic before I got into this company. And I had to check it and to see it with my own eyes until I was able to go to different clients and said, listen, it actually works. And for someone from this industry to understand what are the capabilities of real AI and machine learning, it's almost unperceptible. It's something, it's really hard to.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is, how much money? I mean, think about it. We take all these commercial buildings around the world and save 30%. How much better does our planet become? You know what I mean? It's like crazy better, you know? And how much money, not only do we pollute less, but we make this world better and we're spending less money.
Definitely, and I'm really anxious, you know, and I'm waiting for the time that will be deployed in thousands of buildings, and I have a lot of other value proposition to give, not just the energy saving. This is our ticket in, but we have so much more to give. After, when you're getting into a building and you have all the data, you can improve so much.
So you can tell how much dust is in the air, right?
Exactly. You can. Exactly.
I mean, how big of a problem is that? People don't even realize how much dust is in the air.
Exactly. We can also address to the air, not just air comfort, but also air quality with a simple sensor of CO2. We can detect the quality of the air, and we can actually also proactively, with entering fresh air, it's called, into the building, we can also solve that. And this is something very simple. Once I'm in the building, I'm connected to the equipment. For me, it's just adding a few lines of code into the algorithm. But you know,
what you're doing is amazing, Niv. What you're doing is amazing. Listen, we're coming up to the top of the show. We got a couple of minutes left. I want you to talk about closing thoughts and how do people get a hold of you, because you're going to change the world and make it a better place, right?
Yeah, definitely. So we are just on the beginning of our journey at the moment, and I'm really sure that in a couple of years we'll be deployed in thousands of buildings, and there is so much interest in our company, in our activity, especially at this time. And we have a very strong relationship and strategic partnership with one of the leading companies throughout the world. So I'm really anxious to get to this point. I really think that if someone is open to that, and I have all the abilities, and I made sure to present our solution in a way that it will be undisputable, unquestionable. They can see the results. We build the business model, so it will be a no-brainer for the partners or end customers, so they could see it themselves only after we are funding the whole installation, just for them to be able to see it. This is how sure we are at our product and our abilities.
Well, you're funding the installation, just so as people say. Now, listen, everybody, funding the installation. So there's no reason not to speak to Niv about EneriqsAI.
Definitely. And we're also guarantee a minimum of 17% of the savings. So we put our money where our mouth is. We know we are so sure about our solutions, so we're willing to do everything that it needed to reduce the risk and the fear of the end customers.
No, it's great. So what's the best way to get a hold of you? LinkedIn,
LinkedIn, WhatsApp, emails. You can leave my details, and I'd be happy to hear from anyone who even wants to consult.
So everybody out there, listen, give Niv a call, EneriqsAI, check them out. Incredible company, incredible entrepreneur, making a dent in the user universe, making our world a better place. My name is Gary Fowler, and I am the host of GSD Get Shit Done Venture Studios and GSD Presents, Silicon Valley AI and Tech. Stay happy, stay safe, and stay healthy. Tune in again next week for another exciting edition. In fact, next Friday, we have Daniel Kotke, who was Steve Jobs' roommate at Reed College, one of the original Apple team members, on the show talking about innovation at Apple in the early days and how we can make another Apple today. So I want to thank you. Thanks very much, Niv. Thanks to my audience. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much.